Hello and welcome to the next episode of this series, which is about this LEGO room and of course my life. And it is finally time to get back on track with the Star Wars bits and pieces. Now we have left this for months. We've had problems with the wall, which will all be explained within this upload, but I think we should be good to go. But there's a few things that we're going to try, and it's either going to go one of two ways. It's going to go fantastically well, or it really is going to be a disaster, because it involves putting the big block of cheese and the sail barge on top of those roller coaster tracks, just to see what it would look like. Because I am very, very intrigued to see if we can make that area a little bit more theme park-esque before I put down all of the paths, because we've started to make a dent into everything else. The eyeball has now gone in, and I think those two side by side look great. We've got to figure out what we're going to be doing at the top. The Lord of the Rings now is basically thrown in, ready for the base plates to go down. Base plates are down for the big eyeball, and as it starts to come round, we've got all the base plates and things down for the Ninjago and bits and pieces. So we are getting close to getting everything then ready for tiling, adding all the minifigures in and things like that. But this has always been a pain in the backside because of one problem after another after another. But today it's finally the day that I can actually attack this, and there's a few things that need to be done first before we can even get to the Star Wars sets. So with that being said, let's get to it. Yes, you did hear me right. The big block of cheese is going to go on top of those coaster tracks just to see what it looks like, which means some of this is obviously going to be pulled out. I like this. It looks great on camera with regards to the dragon and things, but it's just too busy with too big a sets. That is the problem. So I have a bit of a plan for this table, and if I can make all of these other plans work, this will just be a long-term project with regards to lots and lots of custom tiling for a Speed Champions driving school, which will then lead into potentially the big Ferris wheel, because I really do like that set. So there's lots of things to happen on here. The D&D, I think, needs a bit more space. I would like to make it almost like a world map, which I think the Dungeons and Dragons and the Statue of Liberty set would look great close to each other, all the paths and everything around it, but it will need some sort of ride with it. Now, the opening credits of the D&D is obviously in part of a theme park. They jump in, they never get out, they're lost forever. So it works within a theme park setting, but I think it's a boat ride that they go on. So I've got to figure out exactly what we're going to be doing over there at a later date, but that set does need to move onto this table for now, so we can free up the tracks. Now, before we can do that, the Shadow Box, which is a set that has never ever had a home, is actually now going to be relegated into I need to be repaired pile, which is just on the bottom double callac. So you can see that there's a carousel looking sorry for itself. That also needs a home, and I don't know if it would actually work underneath that bit. So there's bits that we're going to be doing up at the top, but it's going to be an interesting project on that side. And again, obviously with this side, there's quite a few bits and pieces that will need to potentially move all at the same time, but I need to get to that shadow box first. Now, there's no point me taking this table down to pick it back up again, so we are just going to basically tuck in and dig in and hope for the best. Now, this video is following the Disney Castle upload. So the Disney Castle went down on here, and I've just tried it on some bits and pieces, and it works really, really well. So now we'll just carry on wrapping it round in a future upload with all of the other Star Wars stuff. But I have to clear the top up before I can get the stuff off the floor onto the top, because it all got thrown down there when the paint and things started to drip, leak, and, well, it just wasn't very pleasant, was it, at the start of the year in here? It was an absolute nightmare. So, the set is going to stay up here, get repaired. If I can't make it work in here, I know exactly where else it is going to go. That, for example, needs to go with this as well, so that can go just there, because that actually fits in there perfectly, so that looks lovely. We have got all the DC minifigures on here. They need to come off. When this set is moved, obviously this table then can be flat packed down, and then we can have a fiddle and see if the sail barge, all this looks better. I can have a think about it. And then we can just add it, do it, and move it at a later date. As simple as that. Because obviously we're going to have a little bit of an issue because, well, the base plates have tiling down, and if I do end up putting the cheese on the roller coaster tracks, then all the tiles have to move, which is absolutely fine. The sail barge it could work well with, and then we can put Tatooine around it. So again, that is a thing that could well be doable. But the reason, my thought process around it, if it went up top, it just means that there's a ride in each section there and thereabouts. You've got the Loop Coaster with the Jurassic Park. You've got the Joker Manor with obviously the Marvel stuff. The Lord of the Rings, we're going to figure out what exactly that's going to be as a actual design thing. You're looking at my stomach rather than actually my face. So we're going to be looking, figuring out exactly what that's going to be for that kind of thing. As we come around the room, then obviously we've got all the Ninjago, which has its own water bits and pieces, the boat and stuff. It will be a sort of like a show kind of thing. We're going to be adding restaurants and stuff, so that's probably going to be our eatery stuff there. And then of course then it kind of ends up with the funfair bit with the big roller coaster in it, so it's all within that L-shaped land. We've got the modular maze, which does have the opportunity to be pushed back and then have a road in front of it for cars if this project doesn't work. But I do quite like the idea of a Speed Champions driving school. So all of this just gets ripped out. The big Ferris wheel potentially should fit at the back. You then just have all the track, just custom roads all in front of it, and then you just put the cars down. Simple. That's it. Because that's what you have at the Legoland parks. You have, and it's just a perfect ride. We can make it a little bit more different with regards to the Ferris wheel and things in there, but we will see. But until that can happen and that bit gets cleared off, it's not going to cost anything to do, because I obviously don't have the Ferris wheel here, but I've got some Speed Champions cars that I haven't actually known what to do with yet. So it might be the best of both worlds. So yes, this does really need a bit of TLC, and that is why it's going into our TLC section. And then obviously at some point that bottom level will become something. Now I need to add in some transformers at some point. Where they're going to get added in, I'm not 100% sure yet. Still potential to go with the red coaster. I think they would look quite nice in the front on that. Then we've got the One Piece stuff that might be coming out later on in the year. If the floating restaurant is true, well, that's obviously going to go with the water. And I quite like the idea of a Pirates of the Caribbean boat going between the roller coaster and the Ninjago, because that obviously represents a land in Disney as well. So there's lots of future bits and pieces that's going to be happening over the future, obviously. But this is the current project for now, and we are in the Star Wars now. The time this being filmed, we're about halfway through the month before May, so we are in April currently, and they have yet to do the live stream on the Lego website of all the announcements that is coming out in May. But I am just wanting to make this look a little bit tidier. Oh god, that orange is so bad. I'll get closer, but all behind the legs is all peeled off. Look. It's all just dripped down. It's all underneath, so it's going to need a proper touch up. Hopefully, I'll just be able to touch it with a paintbrush. Not doing that now, mind, but I think that might be all right with the paintbrush. And I've got to pick this up over the loft hatch and squat down and put it underneath. Not going to be ideal. Not going to be ideal because it's got a flappy door on. And I don't know if I can do this hands-free or not. I'm not going to risk it hands-free, so we are going to go one hand on. And I'll hold it like a pizza. See, the back of this thing is super sturdy. It's just the door isn't very strong, but then it's not meant to be moved how I move it, let alone as much as I do. That's that bit gone. Alright, so that bit is in there. Safe, tucked in, and nicely done. Now potentially, there is potential when this is all done and that's lit up, it could actually just live on the side or right across the very, very back of that double deep Kallax, and it's just the backdrop to anything else that's in front of it. Which it's not a silly suggestion, it's just you'd see it with it all lit up and it's just there, and it'd just be a little sort of walk through within its own area, because it would easily fit there, shut and everything else. But like I said, that will cross that bridge when it comes, and we've got a couple of the vehicles that I need to move as well. If I can move this without breaking the door anymore, that would be great. But at the same time, nope, as I say, that's going to be easier said than done. So we'll do it in two stages. Yeah, actually, I don't think that's a bad idea. We could have like a miscellaneous sort of area. Just that. It doesn't take up that much space when it's shut. It's just awkward when it's on display and open. So if we had it closed and it went at the back and we put something beside it, which would actually be the cars, and it all got base plated down, then we could put some bits and pieces in front of it and around it. Just don't know what we could theme it with. It's supposed to be a cave, so back cave. What goes with a cave? What goes with dark stuff that's underneath? Doesn't necessarily have to be a theme that I've got. Would be quite nice if I put that underneath there. We've got the Joker bit up top. Keep your eyes peeled. So this is how it happens with the disaster series. You sort of figure it out as you go along, and we can see. Yes, I am crawling backwards and forwards. So we've got these cars, bikes, and stuff that needs to go over with it, because all of this got moved when Jay's Toy Collection UK came in and we did the track for the Jurassic Park. There is actually quite a lot of stuff that is all going to be put in quite an interesting place by the end of this sort of upload, which is ideal, because I just want to see what these two look like on the stand, and then that's basically the video. So it's just me messing around getting these two onto the stand. I want you guys and girls to help me with what you think would be best. Visually on camera, the cheese would be better, and then we can make something up with the sail barge. Alright, I like the Batman underneath here. I think actually that's the first time I've gone, actually, yeah, that would look quite nice, because you'd see the Joker. It's underneath, yeah, it's all dark and stuff, so that could work. Right, I'll wrap my head around that later, because you can see how quickly it will snowball and spiral, but that is in the correct, excuse me, that is in the correct place. Right, the next thing, this is the tricky bit. So I've got to get that table over the cheese and not hit it, and it's underneath the shelf as well, which is not the easiest thing, because if I knock it, it's all going to go horrendously wrong. And well, yeah, you can see exactly where it's going to potentially go wrong with it all being broken. So hopefully we can get this out. Oh, fantastic. So you can now see the size of the cheese. So that UCS Venator is massive. Now I know there's a stand that you can get with it. I know that you can get a custom stand. I quite like the fact that we might just do something stupid, and I've got the opportunity to do something else that a lot of people might not have done. Right, so that is the cheese in question. Now, I did say that it's going to be interesting because, well, these were down and there was a battle and everything in front. That is the damage. It's all sort of dripped down on. It's just literally not taken. It was just too cold. It just got wet and it ran. That's it. It's as simple as that. It's nothing to gloat about. It's just a right pain in the backside. So we've got to take this table apart. Now this is simple enough because it's just screws on. So this isn't going to be used for anything at the moment, and I can't use the tabletop for anything because the tabletop is too thick. But these are just your lac tables from IKEA, nice and simple. So we'll get this apart, and then what we'll do is have to place the D&D, because the D&D's in the way. So I can't put, I'm gonna have to put the D&D temporary over in the other corner, just so it's out the way, because I do quite like the fact of actually being able to do something with the D&D with proper footpaths and stuff around it, rather than it just being high up top. And I think it needs a little bit more space than just sort of, what we got, like 12 studs that we've given it up at the top, or at least with the ride. We actually turn the Venator into the ride rather than the museum piece. It will then double up as what it is at Disney with the ride on that. So I'm gonna just get this out of the way. There's no point in me filming it, so I'm gonna get this out of the way, and then we're gonna crack on by getting this moved, getting these two bits out on the table. Cheese goes on first. I'll take a photo, let you guys and girls make your mind up, and then see if it's then worth pulling the Jabba barge out and then just seeing what that's about. Now this I know will be sturdy enough to go on there because obviously it's just got two strong Technic pieces on, and I think it should be okay on the base plates because we can obviously spread the feet out enough. The sail barge is on 3, so I don't know if it'll be too weak in the middle, but at the same time it might be, the feet might be close enough that it's only on 2 base plates. So we will soon find out. Right, that has gone and moved, which is great. So, when I was walking up and down the loft ladders, I keep thinking about that side, even though we're not doing it now. We are 3 base plates deep, and I reckon there's almost a whole base plate we haven't got stuff on at the back because of the green bit that's hanging down. Now, after the green bit, it then just goes straight back up again, and the roof keeps going all the way down farther back. So, I don't know if the old fishing store would fit side on beside the Statue of Liberty, and then the carousel will actually fit in the back corner, or we try and just get the carousel in there. But to get the carousel in, I'm actually gonna have to crawl, not now, all the way underneath the table with the set, and then place it from the back and see if it will fit. And there's going to be tape measures and everything, so we'll worry about that later. But for now, I have just cleared enough space for the D&D set to go up. Now the D&D has some blue base plates which aren't needed now. I've just literally unbagged these minifigures and now they're being moved again. All for a Star Wars idea that might look absolutely dreadful, or it might look so stupid it might work. So luckily this is in 3 pieces. It's meant to be in 3 pieces. It's not like I've been a moron, which makes a change. So I will just place them up and over and out the way. Place them up and over and out the way, and then and then we can have a fiddle with what will work best for the bits up here. Now the chest detaches that. I'll be amazed if that dragon stays on. The dragon does look good on camera there, but I quite like the fact that the dragon now will be closer to the Lord of the Rings and the rest of the dragons as well. Right, that is those 3 pieces thrown on there, and that will be played with, because I think the whole thing will just go tan. I think we'll take the black off and keep those 3 black. That will all go tan. Pull those black out, which means if they're coming out, the stand needs to be black for Star Wars then, rather than the blue. And the blue can be used here because I need blue over there. Right, okay. Okay, so I need two base plates then. There's one. So that's a result. Is there another black base plate anywhere, or have I used... I had another base plate, but there's 2. So I actually need one more. I need one more black. I'm hoping I do have another black one somewhere. Over there. There's 3 there. That's fine. Okay, right, so comes off, that comes off, that comes off, that comes off. They get dumped over here out the way. Can that actually fit behind it? Oh, that's going to make things interesting when it's time to put the rest of those black base plates down, because it will fit behind the Lord of the Rings. Right, blue comes off. That can go over here. So we're now going to see if this is just going to work or be an absolute fail. Because that block of cheese is enormous, absolutely enormous. So you're just going to go up there. We're just going to see what is going to happen. And we've got just to square them up. Like so. Spin that round. Well, for a start, can you see it? Not very well. Right, you're going to have to go on top of the loop coaster, because I know what the problem's going to be, because the engines are going to overhang and they're going to hit the Harry Potter thing. So you're going to go that way, I'm going to crawl underneath. You're going to go back up to the top, which is there. And we will basically now hope for the best. So that goes back there. That goes there. Now, depending on how far the legs are apart, the legs aren't going to be as wide, they're not going to be as long as the cheese. So it can still hopefully go in a good place, but will it take its weight? I think we're in the middle. Well, I'm not going to lie, it doesn't look stupid, which is nice. It's tall, really tall, and I was eyeballing it, and I think the shelf is to like there, so I think this little bit of red will just be over the top of the shelf, but I can live with that, because it's going to be that way. I just don't know if that is the better one. Now I'm going to do something really stupid. I'm going to push you back. Both of these at the same time on a base plate. Now they say that this is the sturdiest UCS ship made, and I have said it is by a mile fantastic with regards to how sturdy it actually is, because we can do something on here. Now we were going to put black down for the Star Wars section and use bright colours. So we could, because I think the grey would look nice on this, and potentially the red would also look nicer with this. And we could have a path around it, doing something. There's options that we can do with it, because it is high off its own stands, whereas I don't think the other one is. But in fact, I'm going to take a photo of that. I'm going to see exactly. I quite like that. Yeah, I do quite like that. Or is the block of cheese is the sail barge going to be better? I think from an impact point of view, without actually seeing the sail barge, I really like that. The sail barge is a lot more streamlined. I'm just grabbing that. I'm just grabbing that now because that's so thin. It's on the shelf. So if it stayed on the shelf, it wouldn't take up as much space. Oh, you can see all the detail from underneath as well. Because I'd have it that way so you see the little Easter egg. I think I've kind of sold myself without actually moving anything else. This is such a stupid idea, but I think it will work. I actually think we can make it work, because we've just got to put stormtroopers and stuff in here. So we just obviously take the Harry Potter characters off, and we can have stormtroopers and clone troopers on each level. So we can actually just put Star Wars stuff on there to make it look like a Star Wars ride. So we can actually theme it to Star Wars. Oh dear, aren't we stupid? Right, I am now doing my best to reach the other set, which I'm not going to lie, isn't the easiest thing to grab because of where it is. But this has been in hibernation for far too long, because again, with all the problems we've had. Look how much smaller it is. So the stand would have to be together for it to fit, but we wouldn't be able to get a path underneath. So just for that reason of wanting to put a path together, because we can come up with, I don't know, could we come up with that stupid rope swing that they have in the film? There's quite a few things we could do. Could potentially just get, I think I've got some spare track. And I've got train track. Could we use the train track as a divider? Pieces do we need? 2 or 3. Those pins are a right pain. to. Just as the divider, and it could probably go, well, it can't go underneath. One could do it. In fact, one would do it. You have one either side. Can you even see what I'm doing? Probably not. Right, so if we had one bit of track and it clipped onto the front there. Try again. It will clip onto the front just there, like so. I've got to bring them in just by a couple of studs. Right, so we made the decision of it's going to be that ship over this without this even going on top, because it just works. It's just, oh dear, it's just one of those that I think will look great. It'll make a serious display in the Globe Wars, and I don't think anybody else has done it, and I like doing stuff that nobody else has thought of done, probably because it's too stupid to do that sort of scenario. So can I bring I can. The problem is I don't, ideally I want to keep the weight more into the middle of the base plate, but if this moved forward, that, oh no, went there, that's it, that's clipped in. And that is in the middle. So we have that as a thing. Have that across the front, get from one side to another. The path and everything goes down. It's stupid. It's dangerous. It looks quite cool. And we've got a really nice now path that we can actually make underneath this, and there's potential that it will go on the other side. Now I feel stupid that we've not put the other one on it, so I think I should do and take a photo and think about it and just commit to it and then do it. So for me to do that, I am basically all in now on this idea, which I think is a perfect blend for the Clone Wars of a roller coaster and a museum piece with the bits and pieces coming down. Then the stuff underneath, we don't need a roller coaster in, because we'll actually have a working bar with the cantina. So we can get away with not actually having a coaster underneath. But yeah, we theme that as all Star Warsy stuff. Okay, right. Because there's a lot to do on this side because it got ruined. And so the first thing it needs is paint, which is such a shame. I don't think I can actually rub it off, but that's all going to have to be done in a separate, video. I think I'm going to do a repaint and then a display all in the same one, because I need to clear it up a little bit more. I just want to do it. I've got the bug now. I just want to get this down. But I can't, because that's what's stopping me. And I just hope that the orange will take. I don't see why it won't. It's got to have gone off. It's all hardened off now, surely. Yeah, it has. I've got the paint still, which is great. I've got the orange and the yellow still, so I can get that. Okay, that's the plan then. Make a serious Clone Wars display with this, and it's going to be a double upload at the same time, because I'm going to be able to, when I'm waiting for the paint to dry, move the rest of that stuff over to clear that table off, and then see what we actually end up with over there. Right, so I don't think, because it's so wide, it'll fit on that table with the, if it can fit on that table, if it's a big if, it can fit on the table there, we can have both in shot, but I don't think it will. I think it needs to go the other way. It needs to spin, I think. No, not a chance. Honestly, this thing is so big. So big. Right, so that is there. Touchdown. I mean, look at the size of it, really. I mean, it is just huge. But yeah, I think it's going to be about there, I think. Which is not a problem at all. But from where you are, I'm guessing now, I'm not even looking, what does the other one look like? Because we won't have the track for a start, because I think we'd have to get them in and touching. But I think if this was to go underneath the table, it would ruin everything else. Yeah, it's floating in the middle. It's sturdy enough. It's floating in the middle, but that's it. We wouldn't have the luxury or opportunity to do anything else with it. Obviously these would go on, the base would all be sand rather than, well, actually, to be honest, I'm not too sure what colour it would go on up here. It might go on sand, because we could put the Clone Wars battle around it underneath. That's on sand, and double it up so you've got all the troopers shooting each other from here, so it's more of a rockery scene rather than just sand. But yeah, that would be what it is. It looks all right. It does look good, and I can visualise it being sand underneath. But then you haven't got anything else to go with it, because it's supposed to be Tatooine, and I've got Tatooine, and we've got the other buildings, and they won't fit around it, and it's all the wrong colour and everything else. So I think we're going to go for the massive block of cheese. So it's going to have to be painted, and then we can tuck in and carry on. I've just got to figure out if this is the best thing to do next. It might be. It might be the next best thing to do. So I can paint it now and let it dry. That's my problem to figure out. I've got to figure out what I'm doing next for the next upload. But that, I think, is just too small. I much prefer the cheese on top of that. D&D then goes flat down on the bottom. I can raise that dragon now much higher and have a little bit of a play over with that area. So I've now got a couple of, I've basically got 3 good little projects on the go up top, and then we got to carry on with that bit underneath, which is the fourth sort of project. So I've got plenty of stuff that I can do basically when that paint is drying. So I think probably the best thing to do is actually get it painted and then just do everything as a separate Star Wars upload. So the next upload for Star Wars is going to be getting this on the tracks, getting the walls tidied up and painted, and then more than likely having to figure out the configuration for all of the base plates and everything like that. And then depending on the time, we can then actually start putting some of the tiles and everything back down again and start adding in, well, all the stuff that got thrown to the back and just got messed up. Because we've got to figure out where this is going to be and what is going to be over, and potentially it's going to be over the top of the gunship, which would look quite smart. And because it's so high up, now all the dioramas will actually be across the back shelf, because this was going to go on a stand up against the back, and then we're just going to have a diorama to it. But I think this way we're actually going to have more stud space underneath, and we're gaining the base plate stud space as well. So I think overall it's going to make the display space even bigger. It's just fantastic. So that's it. I'm done. Am I stupid? Probably. Let me know in the comment section. Am I wasting my time? Probably. And am I the only one that's idiotic enough to do this? Yeah, probably. But at the same time, it's going to be a really good, fun ride for the Clone Wars with the Clone Wars battle diorama, and it's going to be the best of both worlds. I've just got other things to figure out with regards to D&D and things like that now. So guys, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Again, in the comment section below, let me know I'm a moron, basically. That is absolutely fine, but let us know what you think of this little project for the Star Wars stuff. Remember, it's going to be as tidy as the rest of those bits and pieces over there. So what we've done over here and what we've done here, I want this bit in the middle to be as tidy, and I want this to be as tidy, and it was until we spun everything around and obviously had to throw everything in because of the, well, it's that's fault. Because they announced that, all of this has happened because of that massive T-Rex. So again, one more time, if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care, and I'll catch you next one.